All right, everybody, we want to welcome again Audra Martin, a reporter for the Minnesota Wild and the Minnesota Twins. I just want to firstly ask you, I mean, how have you been keeping busy in this quarantine? I mean, it sucks that you can't be at Target Field, watching a beautiful a game on a beautiful day or covering some awesome playoff hockey for the Wild. How have you been staying busy?
Yeah, well, first of all, guys, I really appreciate you having me on and being a part of this. It's really an awesome cause. So thank you so much for including me today. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to stay busy. I've been playing my violin a little bit, so that's been fun to rediscover an old passion. I've been scrapbooking a lot. Got a lot of pictures from my time here so far in Minnesota. So I figured I'd put them into a scrapbook and and just keeping in touch with family and friends on Zoom calls and things like that. But yeah, it is tough. I mean, I always say this is usually my favorite time of the year because hopefully we would be, still covering playoff hockey, but baseball would be underway. And I love Target Field and, nothing better than being at the ballpark on a beautiful summer day. Like we've had a couple of days here recently. And I just absolutely love the Twins and the Twins organization, and coming off of last year, it was just such an awesome year. So yeah, it's really tough to not be there, but fingers crossed that we'll get back there and we'll figure it out when it does all start.
So you're not from Minnesota originally then?
No, yeah, I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. How is, and I noticed that, didn't you work, didn't you come work at Tennessee or Memphis before Minnesota? So how was it like transitioning from a place like Tennessee to Minnesota? I mean, was that kind of weird or?
Yeah, it was. I feel like I was kind of used to it at that point because I grew up in Chicago. I went to college in Orlando at UCF, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I worked for the Braves and the Thrashers. I was there for 4 years, and then I moved to Huntsville, Alabama, and then I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and then moving up here. So the transition back up here wasn't too crazy, just because I'm from Chicago, and so the weather aspect, I was used to that and used to the Midwest. But yeah, it was, for me, it was nice because I was close enough to home where it's like, if I want to drive home, it's not too far of a drive for me or really easy flight. But yeah, I mean, the South is, you guys all know the South, there's different. It's a little bit slower pace down in Alabama and Nashville, which parts of that I loved. I loved covering the Predators and the Titans. So, but hockey and baseball have always been my two favorite sports growing up. So this was really a dream job. So right off the get-go, I mean, it could be a blizzard every single day, and I would still feel so grateful to be here.
Yeah. How do the environments compare? Like, you covered Nashville games, and I know it's pretty crazy down there, but I mean, what are the differences in the environment between like a Nashville Predators games and like Wild games from what you've seen?
Yeah, well, when I was there, so when I got to Nashville, it would have been 2000. Oh gosh, the years start to blend together. 2012, I guess. And so the Predators were really starting to draw fans. They were playing pretty good hockey and had some, big names and good talent. So I will say Bridgestone Arena is a fantastic place to watch a hockey game. If you ever have the chance to go, you should go, because there's nothing like it, obviously being able to watch a game and then walk right out onto Broadway and listen to fantastic live music. So I always tell people, if you're going to go check out a hockey game, you should definitely go there. It was really cool from the beginning of where I started, even to the last couple of years, just to see how the fan base has progressed, and hockey has become way more popular in Nashville, which makes me so happy just to see how many sheets of ice have been built down there, and youth hockey programs are starting to really develop down there. So that's been really cool. But I mean, hockey fans are hockey fans. They're, so passionate and just enthusiastic. So it was, I really loved it. The Predators are a fantastic organization as well. And then to come up here to the state of hockey was a dream come true. And the Wild are an incredible organization. Like I said, I just, sometimes I'm like, pinch me. Like, I just feel so blessed.
Dream come true. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you told us earlier, you sent us an email, and you said that you had a crazy story that you have never shared with the public before, and it was awesome, and I would love if you could share it with everyone right now.
Yes, you heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
Well, it's so funny because, like I said, I've been working on my scrapbook, and so I was to the point of spring training of 2000. My scrapbook starts when I moved to Minnesota, so I was working on the page for spring training, and I was like, oh my gosh, man, I forgot about that story. And I a couple of the newer Twins beat reporters, like Betsy and Doe, a couple of months ago about it, and they were just dying laughing. And I was like, well, I'm like, one of these days I got to talk about it, because it does come up in conversation. So I'm like, oh, well, might as well. Bust it up. So like I said, it was my first season with the Twins, and so in March we had a break from the Wild. I think there was a couple games on NBC, so I had like a week off, and I was like, I'm going to take advantage of the time off, and I'm going to go down to spring training and get to know the staff and the organization and the players before I jump into baseball, once hockey season is over. I wanted to kind of get a start on it. So I was booking my flight, and it was way cheaper for me to fly into Fort Lauderdale and then stay with a friend that night and then drive over to Fort Myers in the morning. Well, that day I was leaving on a Sunday, and there was a 1:00 game against the Carolina Hurricanes at the Excellent Center. So I went right from the arena to the airport. And when I got there, they were looking for volunteers to give up their seats on the flight. And I was like, well, I don't want to go, because it was to go out the next morning instead. So I told him, I'm like, well, I can't do that, but can you get me on the direct flight to Fort Myers? And the ticket agent was like, yeah, absolutely. It leaves like in an hour and a half. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. So I get on the plane, and so I cancel my car rental in Fort Lauderdale, book a new one in Fort Myers, and book a new hotel. So our flight was delayed, and then when we got to Fort Myers, we were stuck on the tarmac for a little bit while they waited for it to open up. And then when I got to the car rental place, they apparently had lost power for like 4 dozens of people. And at this point, it's almost midnight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the clubhouse is opening at 7 a.m. And I'm like, I just want to go and shower and get ready.
Right.
So it took me over an hour to get my rental car. So it's almost 1:00 in the morning. And I drive to the hotel, and I walk in, and the guy at the desk is like, we don't have any record of your reservation. And I was like,
no. That would be,
yeah, because keep in mind, I only needed a hotel for one night, because I had the hotel booked for the rest of the nights that I was in Fort Myers. But when I called them right away, they did not have any rooms to add on for that Sunday night. So now the other caveat is I didn't realize I had left my phone charger at home. So my phone battery is at like 12%.
Oh, no.
So I wasting battery to, calling around hotels. So I just dumped in my car, and I start driving down Fort Myers, whatever the main road is, and I start looking for hotel rooms. I was probably on like the 6th hotel that I had stumbled upon, and nobody had rooms because it's spring training and spring break. And at this point, I'm like, I'm going to have to sleep in my car. Like, this is just... So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to give it a little bit longer. And I'm going to try to find a gas station or someplace where I can buy a phone charger. And of course, I went into one gas station, and they were out of phone chargers. So literally nothing was going right for me.
Yeah.
So then I stumble upon, I think it was a La Quinta or something, like a Homewood.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, fingers crossed. So I go in there, and there's nobody at the front desk. And I'm like ringing the little bell.
Like crazy, yeah.
And then comes around the corner, and she's like, can I help you? And I was like, at this point, I'm starting to get really upset, and I'm stressed out. And I'm like, I really need a room. Do you guys have any availability? And she was so rude to me and just angry. And she's like, no. And and she, I don't know, it was just awful. So at this point, I'm crying because it's almost 1:00 in the morning, and I'm just so upset.
It's like the world's going against you.
And you got to be up in like 2 hours.
Everything is going wrong. And I was so excited that I was flying direct into Fort Myers. And so I'm just like so upset. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll just keep looking. And I told myself, I think I gave myself to 3:00 in the morning. And at that point I was like, I guess I'm just going to sleep in my car. So I get in my rental car, and I pull out of the parking lot again, back onto the main drag of Fort Myers. And all of a sudden there's police. Oh no. You've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, I can't think I was speeding. What did I? So I pull over, and then I hear the police officer say, keep your hands on the steering wheel where I can see them. I'm like,
what is going on?
Hysterically crying and tired and so upset at this point. I'm like, literally nothing else can go worse. So I'm sitting there and I'm like shaking, and the police officer comes up and he's like, can I see your license? And I said, sure. And I grab my wallet and I open my wallet and my driver's license isn't in there. And I'm like,
oh no, God. Everything that can go bad is just going bad.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know where my driver's license is. And he, he's shining the flashlight. He's like, ma'am, your driver's license is right there. I can see it. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, no, because I have my wallet open. I'm like, oh, that's my my old license from Tennessee. And he looks at me, he's like, ma'am, do you know it's illegal to have 2 driver's licenses in the state of Florida? And I was like, no, I did not know that. I'm so sorry. So now I'm really hysterically crying. And he's like, I'm going to have to, write you a citation. And I said, well, can I, I'm sorry, what did I do wrong? And at this point, another police car has now pulled up. It's 2 police cars. The other guy has gotten out. And he's just kind of like sitting there, with his hands in his vest. And he's like, I'm like, what is going on? And I said, what did I do? And he's like, well, you rolled through a stop sign coming out of that parking lot. I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, 2 police cars, for
one stop, for a simple traffic violation.
Now, I will say, I was a criminal justice major in college, so I have the utmost respect for police officers. So I was not mad at all. I was like, I'm trying to think what I must have done. And I was like, I'm in a rental car. I wonder if maybe the person who had the car ahead of me before me committed a crime. So again, I'm hysterical, and the guy is like, he's like, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to calm down. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have had the worst night. You have no idea, everything is going wrong. And he's like, okay, he's like, I need to know, why you're here. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm here for work, and I'm hysterical and I can't talk. And he's like, for work? Yeah. And I said, yeah. He goes, okay, and he radios into something. Oh no. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, do you really not know where your driver's license is? And I'm digging through my wallet. I'm digging in my purse. And I'm like, I must have left it at the rental car place. So then all of a sudden he's like, ma'am, I need to know what you are doing here in this location. I'm so sorry. I'm here for work. I work for Fox Sports. I'm a sideline reporter for the Twins. And tomorrow's my first day. And I have to be there at 6:30 in the morning. And the guy looks at me, he's like, I'm sorry, you do what? Yeah. Fox Sports, and he's like, and then I can see the other guy laugh. Yeah. And he's like, do you have any proof of this, ma'am? And I said, yeah. I said, may I reach into my purse and my work bag? Yeah. He goes, absolutely. And so as I move my purse a little bit further, I see the envelope where my driver's license in the car.
Oh, nice.
Oh, here's my driver's license, and here's my credential. Wow. And here's my credential, and he just is like, I am so sorry, ma'am. And I was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. He's like, no, it's not okay. And I am so sorry. And I said, what? He goes, the hotel that you just left is one of the top prostitution and sex trafficking hotels in Southwest Florida. He goes, and we are in the process of a sting right now. Oh. And I go, so you thought I was a hooker? And he was so mortified, just so mortified. And he was like, I am so sorry. And at that point, I just started laughing but also crying. Yeah. And he radios again, and he's just, he says something whatever their code is, for calling it off. The other police officer is like, ma'am, we are so sorry. And so the guy who's right next to my car is like, is there anything that we can do? And I said, do you have a phone charger?
I need to call somebody. Yeah,
I do. And I was like, he was like, well, so where are you going to stay? And I said, I have no idea. I think I'm just going to sleep in my car. Yeah. He's like, I have a daughter around your age. He's like, I would not want her being in this part of town. Yep. He's like, I'm going to, take my car charger and follow me to a safer part of town. Yep. I know where there's a couple hotels. And we'll make sure that you get a hotel room. Wow. So I was like, okay, so I'm driving behind this police officer, and we, I was like 15 or 20 minutes in the wrong direction of where and so he was so nice. He came in and make sure that I got a hotel room. I still had to go into 2 of this little area of hotels. So it was the second one, the cheapest hotel I could get was, and the police officer was so nice. He let me use his AAA discount. Oh. That it was $259 just for me. At this point, it's 3 in the morning, and so I was like, I'm only going to
be there for 2 hours.
Yeah, right?
Anyways, right?
2 hours. And it was $259. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so terrible. So I barely slept. I was so nervous. And I got to the ballpark and I started telling, some of the beat reporters kind of the story, and they were like laughing hysterically. And I to this day, I don't know who it was that told Brian Dozier about it, but a couple days later, Dozier came up to me and he was like, hey, so I hear if this reporter thing doesn't work out, you got a career. And I was like, oh my God. The moment I knew that Brian Dozier was going to be one of the nicest and easiest guys to deal with, like from that moment on, I was like, I'm a Brian Dozier fan. It was so funny. It was so well played. I still don't know who told him. I have an idea of what reporter it might have been. But yeah, so that is my story. So they thought maybe I was a working lady of another business down fires, all because my travel plans were completely ruined.
Did you also say that was going to be your first day working for the Twins?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that makes it so much worse.
You're probably thinking like, what am I getting myself into? This is bad luck. What's going on?
Well, I mean, it was still funny because at that point, the only person from the organization that I had met was Dustin Morse.
Yeah,
exactly. And so he was kind of my go-to contact, and he'd like text me when you get here in the morning. I'll come give you your spring training credential, and I'll introduce you to everybody. And so I was like so hesitant to tell him the story because I was like, he's gonna think I'm just crazy. Like, how much bad luck can this girl have? Like in a span of 3 or 4 hours. But I did actually tell him. He got like I said, everybody's gotten such a kick out of it. It's actually really funny too. A couple reporters that I have met along the way have heard the story. Like I was in Detroit and one of their reporters came up to me. He's like, are you the girl that almost got arrested in Fort Myers at spring training? I was like, yes, I didn't almost get arrested. It was a complete misunderstanding.
Yeah, come on. I mean, I don't know what you heard, but come on. Yeah, right.
So yeah, I always get a kick out of spring training, and that always just comes flashing back. It could have just been I mean, it was a horrible night anyways, but now I can laugh about it. At first, a bit traumatizing, when you've got two police cars pulled you over on the side of a highway and a road in Fort Myers. But yeah, so that's how I kicked off my twin spring training experience.
Have you ever had another day in your whole entire life where that many things in a row have gone wrong?
No.
That's insane. That's just crazy.
I think that, and I could be wrong, but I think the Wild game that afternoon went into overtime too. So I was really like stressed out and freaking out, maybe going to lose or miss a flight. I mean, and again, like I said, I was a criminal justice major, so I was not mad. The police officer, the one that I was talking to really for the most part of it, was very nice. And I did tell him afterwards, I was like, I was a criminal justice major in Central Florida. And he was like, what's UCF? My daughter goes to UCF. Yeah. So it was totally fine. It was hilarious. That's awesome. At that point. But it just, literally everything that could have gone wrong.
That's crazy, but it still ended up working out at the very end. You found your driver's license and you had your credentials. So like, just like that, it was like, okay, everything's going to be fine. But it was still super late. I would have been stressed out.
His reaction too, like when he saw the credential and he was like, oh my God, I just made a horrible, like he just like, hung his head and he was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm for what? At that point, I hadn't put two and two together at that point. So shout out to who I forget his name. I wish I would have kept his business card because I would have emailed him and just because I was so appreciative then of him helping me find a hotel room. And he said, if we can't find you a place to stay and all you really need to do is like change your clothes, he's like, we have a locker room at the police department. You can come change your clothes and go to work. So, I mean, super, super nice officer. I was so appreciative of that. And and now it just makes for
that's a great story.
It's exclusive. Heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, man.
Really, really quick. A really cute kitty cat just popped into the frame and then popped out. Who's that? Yeah. What's his name or her name?
Oh, there it is.
This is Miss Macy Gray.
Oh.
He's a little large.
Big kitty. Look at that.
That's awesome. My parents have a big cat themselves, and they do not like when I make fun of the size. So,
yeah, she's feisty.
She hates when I tell her.
She eats all of her brother's food, and that's the problem. So I try to separate it, but it doesn't always work.
Well, you're going to get a lot of cat time in quarantine, so you're probably spending a lot of time with them.
With her. Sick of me. You know it's bad when your cats are like, oh my gosh, go away. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that we were able to get that story. I think that's awesome. I think a lot of people will be entertained by that. But we want to kind of, before we really end here, we're ending at 6 here, so we're running out a little bit of a time. But before we leave, we want to kind of do a signature segment we've been doing with everybody else on here called Rapid Fire, where we ask you some crazy would you rather hypothetical questions, some quick answers. So are you down for that?
I am down. I'm a little nervous, but I'm down.
Nothing too bad.
Nothing crazy. Nothing too bad. But first one, would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Olive Garden.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That's the popular choice.
Love their breadsticks.
Yes.
And I could eat fettuccine Alfredo every day if I had to.
Yes, 100% agree. I could do buca too. Buca's pasta. Top notch. If you were given an all expenses paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Oh, absolutely. I really like Cleveland. Yeah. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is still on my list. I haven't yet to go there. But yeah, I like the area that we stay in on road trips in Cleveland.
You know what I found actually is most people who have been to Cleveland are like, oh, I'd love to go there. And people who haven't been to Cleveland are like, no, I would never go. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I like it. I think it's a cool town.
Yeah, we talked to Corey Provis earlier. I'm sure you know Corey. He's the radio play-by-play for the Twins. He was listing off so many cool things about Cleveland, and I'm like, oh wow, they have that there. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, you're making a good case for Cleveland to people who have never been there. So, yeah,
you can walk to the ballpark, and then there, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there. It's right on the water. There's a couple really good restaurants. There's this whole little alley of restaurants and stuff, and there's a casino. I mean, so it's all right there in walking distance.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Next one, is it pronounced hot dish or casserole?
Oh, I learned this so early on in my time.
Yeah.
It's hot dish, but I never heard that until I moved here.
Yeah.
So that's just a Minnesota only term then?
I guess. I mean, that's like the duck, duck, goose or duck, duck.
Gray duck.
I'm assuming you were duck, duck, goose.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, everybody in Minnesota grew up duck, duck, gray duck, and we're so passionate. No, it's duck, duck, gray duck. What?
Gray duck vodka.
Gray duck vodka.
Duck, duck, Minnesotans will get really offended if you say goose. It's such a weird thing to get offended over.
Yeah, it's insane. Moving on, if a movie was made about your life, who would play you?
Oh, man. I don't even know. Can I pick Blake Lively because I have such a girl crush on her?
Yes.
And then meet Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. No, I can see Blake Lively, though. I can see it. Though. Yeah, that's perfect. Ryan Reynolds, yeah. Badass actor.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. Would you rather have a head the size of a tennis ball or the size of a watermelon?
I'm going to go with watermelon. I feel like I have a large head anyway, so I'm probably not that far off from a watermelon. But yeah. Watermelon.
That's been the popular choice. Minneapolis or St. Paul?
So I live in Minneapolis, but I do love St. Paul. I love, especially on a hockey game night.
Yes.
The area around the X is awesome. So I'm a big fan of both.
The atmosphere is awesome in downtown St. Paul for wild games. In self-defense, how many fifth graders could you fend off at one time?
Fifth graders? Oh man.
It's a self-defense. It's a life or death situation.
They're coming at you.
Yes.
How many do you think?
Probably none. Let's just be honest. I'm kind of a wuss. Fifth graders, they can be kind of feisty.
Yes.
So I'm probably screwed in that situation.
Paul Allen, he said that he could take on an entire school of fifth graders.
Yes.
That's true.
But that is Paul Allen, so.
He can do things that most people can't. So.
Yes. Would you rather wear a shirt that's kind of itchy all the time or wear a pair of shoes that have a small pebble in it?
Probably an itchy shirt.
Yeah. That's been mixed.
The other thing that's the worst thing in the world is when your sock starts to fall into your shoe.
Oh.
Like when you're wearing boots or something? Yeah.
Most uncomfortable feeling, honestly. What's more realistic, ghost or aliens?
Well, didn't the Pentagon just say? So yeah, I'm gonna go aliens.
Doesn't confirm aliens, but it does confirm there's stuff out there that we don't know.
UFOs don't mean aliens, but why not?
Why not, man?
What else are they gonna be? I'm gonna say UFOs are 9 times out of 10 aliens.
There you go. That's a hot take right there.
That is a hot
take.
take.
Hot take of the day.
Obviously way wrong. But
I'm curious about this. This is the final one. You have one sport to watch the rest of your life. What is it?
Oh man, that's not fair.
Yeah.
There's gonna be one fan base that's gonna be so mad at me.
Yes.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna go with baseball for two reasons. I grew up playing it, so it was my first love when it comes to sports. But second of all, like if we're playing baseball, more than likely that means it's nice weather outside. So, like I said, I like being out at the ballpark on a summer night. So we'll go with that.
There we go. Well, that will pretty much conclude our time with you, Audra. Thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to baseball coming back and seeing you on the air, and hopefully even the Wild maybe conclude their season sometime this summer as well, and we'll see you then. So, but thanks again for coming on and helping out a good cause.
And thanks so much for that story too. That was awesome.
You guys are doing this. It's really a wonderful cause. So thank you, and keep it up. Great work.
Yeah, we love the story that you had in spring training. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Audra.
Bye.
Bye.